Oh my God. We're on the pre-show. I'm Jay Skinner. This is the pre-show for the Buyers and Sellers Show. Give everybody a couple minutes to get on. Can't wait. And we're live. Welcome to the Buyers and Sellers Show. So glad everybody's showing up. And what can I say? Except for this is a special day. I want you to remember the silver rule. Do unto your vendors as you want your customers to do unto you. And the green rule is do for yourself what you're asking others to pay you to do for them. What do we got coming up? You know, and that's one of the reasons you're here today. Dr. Nido Qubein, CSP CPAE, Hall of Fame speaker. You know, and as I was listening to his works and studying and getting ready for this, a quote that came out said, "Life is lived best when it's lived from the inside out." And so, everybody, I would like you to meet my friend, Dr. Nido Qubein.
Good morning, Jay. Listen, why don't you cancel me out and just play more piano, man? That's the best part.
Oh, thank you very much. That was that was an improvisation around the theme of the Volga Boatman, Yo Ho Heave Ho. And I did that today because thinking about your life and what you've done and where you've come from, it was like, you know what it is to yo ho heave ho and be a Volga boatman and pull together. Unbelievable. You came to the United States at the age of 17 with $50 in your pocket and the prayers and love of your mother and a few words of English. Tell us about that.
Well, Jay, look, my daddy died when I was 6 years of age. When the Biography Channel and and Amazon, people can watch my life story on Amazon. I think costs $3-4. The reality of it is, when someone asks me the question, if you could change one thing in your life, what would it be that you'd like to change? I know the answer to that question because I lived it. And I'd much rather have had a dad who would have taken me to the circus, thrown me a ball, read me a book, sang me a song, or just talk with me man to man. But that was not my fate, because my daddy died when I was 6.
Yeah.
And that's pretty tough, man. But look, out of adversity can emerge abundance. Each of us sometimes struggles with some adversity in business, in life, etc. And the reality is not what happens to us, is what we do about it that matters. And so there was my mom. My mom had 4th grade education, Jay, 4th grade education. She had the wisdom of the best 25 PhDs from the most reputable school you can imagine, because she understood life from the inside out. And my mom would say to me things like, who you spend time with is who you become. It's true, isn't it, Jay? I mean, the environment in which we choose to reside directly and fully influence the person that we become. And then she would say, what you choose is what you get. So don't blame the world for what happens to you. You don't have enough customers. Your revenues don't go up. Your profits are not what you expected. Don't blame the world. You made choices that got you there. And then she'd say, how you change. Not if you change, not when you change, not with whom you change, but how you change. In other words, change is inevitable.
Yes.
And transformation comes from change. And she would say, how you change is how you transform yourself. And she sent me to America, Jay, on a one-way ticket, on a borrowed price for the ticket. And I didn't see her for 5 years. I went to undergraduate school, worked my way through college, went to graduate school, finally had a few bucks to see my mom. So my story, it's about the American dream, my friend. All things are possible. I define the American dream as the achievement of your own goals. It's not about having a Rolls Royce and a big house on the hill. It's about the achievement of your own goals. If that were not true, how would you explain to a teacher who goes to school 5 or 6 years? He or she knows that they're going to be overworked and underpaid. You're going to tell them they have not achieved the American dream? Who has the right to define success for another? So my life has been a journey that had ups and downs. I started businesses. I succeeded in some were more turbulent than others. But hey, man, at the end of it, life was wonderful.
Excuse me, Nido. Did you lock the door in the green room? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. There's somebody. I heard some noise. Let's see what we got here. Let's see.
Hey.
Wait a minute. Who are these guys? I've never seen them before. Don't tell me they're famous speakers.
They are. Okay, Terry.
They must be starting out in the field.
You're muted, Terry. Terry Brock's here. There we go. Unmute yourself.
Jim, how do you pronounce Jim's last name? Is it
Jim? All right.
Is that misspelled?
Just call me sir.
Well, Terry's here, but he's muted right now. Oh, there he is. Terry.
There we go. I was just walking down the hall and I saw the door was open there in the green room. I looked in. I saw there's Nido on there. I thought I got to hear this because this guy is good. Whenever he's talking, I want to listen. He's got some good.
Hey, Terry, this is an expensive show. You got 3 expensive speakers on the line. When do we get the check? When do we get the check, Jay?
Oh yeah, it's coming somewhere. Hold on.
Jay, you are covering our airfare for this, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So what we've got
it's
here.
Nice to see. It's nice to see my yes.
Reading this morning.
Jim, that's why you've been so successful, Jim. I mean, how else would you explain it? It can't be just talent, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Now, that's proudest things in my life. Look at this.
Yes, sir.
So
what you don't have to talk at all.
My
You got
audience
speakers here. We're going to go all day. We can go all night.
I will. You guys. I just want for the people that are watching. I want them to know right here. You have 3 Hall of Fame speakers, and all together, these guys have known each other for 1 billion years. And what a surprise, Terry! Thank you. Just one story about Nido. Just a quick one.
I just got to say, I've heard Nido for years.
After Terry.
Many times I've heard Nido. Every time, I'm using that carefully, every time I hear him speak, I gain something new. something I can use that is really giving me a way to get ahead. Just a few weeks ago, we were at the National Speakers Association conference, got a chance to sit next to him for lunch. We talked about a lot of good things. And Nido, you helped me even in those little ways. And just want you to know, we appreciate you. And so when I saw the door open, I heard you speaking, I had to come in to listen.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you. Terry, you know why I love you? Because you exaggerate so generously and it works for me.
And it's the truth, you know, and it ain't lying when it's true. That's what Jimmy Dean told us.
You're very kind, very kind.
Jim Cathcart, what do you got to say?
In 1977, I went to the first speaker showcase of my life. It was held by a speakers bureau, Dr. Dupree Jordan Success Leaders Speakers Showcase in Atlanta at the Dunphy's Royal Coach Inn. And I met another new speaker at the time, young guy named Nido Qubein, who had on one of those gangster striped suits, you know, real sharp looking guy. And,
I don't care what, Jim, I don't care what you say. The women liked it.
No, just they did. And lots of black hair, which I had too at the time. And Nido and I just bonded. I mean, we became instant friends and have been clearly ever since. And there's not a person on earth I admire any more than Nido Qubein. Thank you for being in my life.
Thank you, Jim. I really appreciate you. You know, Jay, for anybody watching us today, I think the inspiration in your show today is that in America, all things are possible. So there you have Terry and Jim and you, Jay, and each of you has succeeded measurably and meaningfully in your own way, doing it in your own style. And that's what makes life so fulfilling, you know, is that there is an opportunity for every person if we're willing to work hard enough and willing to be good students and grow every day. And that's the name of the game. So I see Terry's got his caveat right there on top of his bookshelf. I unfortunately, there's Jim's. I sold mine on eBay. I got a ton of money.
What's the market for that today? I could use a few cash here and there.
And I was the guy who bought it. It's okay. So you guys, thanks for coming. Hang out in the green room for after the show if you want. Just don't eat the green melon, all of it, because that's my favorite.
Good. Well, for the drinks, it'll be good. Nido, we love you.
Love you too, man. Love you too. Bye-bye. Jim, I'll see you soon.
There we go. Oh, surprise.
That is a surprise. You work hard on this show, Jay. My goodness.
Thank you. So we're going to do a lightning round right now, and I'm going to show some pictures, and you can make some comments. How about that? Here we go. I'm going to go up here. Let's see what we got. Let's go right down the line, and it starts right here.
Oh yes, this is the gentleman that you see in that picture is the Reverend Chris Hodges. He's the minister of the second largest church in America in Birmingham, Alabama, called Church of the Highlands, and he's a friend of mine. And at High Point University, where I am president in High Point, North Carolina, once or twice a year we give a medallion of achievement to someone who's done something big in their life. And Chris is one of the most beautiful people you'll ever meet. You learn so much from him. He's written great books. And so that's an occasion where I was actually in Birmingham at his place called Highlands College, where he is chancellor. And I presented him with that. Very dear friend. By the way, he and I met through another dear friend to both of us, and that's John Maxwell. And we've known John for ages, and John always hooking people up. So he connected us. It's been a great relationship.
And it's just like Jim Cathcart introduced us. How cool was that?
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly. And so here's another one.
Yes. Well, you know who this guy is, the tipping point. Yes. So this is
Malcolm Gladwell, my friend.
Yes, Malcolm Gladwell. I have a show on PBS in the Southeast. It airs every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. And then anybody can go on HPU, all caps, HPU Plus, like the mathematical plus, and you can watch all my interviews with people like Condoleezza Rice, Colin Powell, presidents of the United States, CEOs of major corporations.
And I was interviewing plus, like with a plus sign or the letters.
HPU Plus.
Plus sign.com.
No, just HPU Plus. It's a streaming service, and you download the app HPU Plus. It has unlimited amounts of substance. Anyway, Malcolm Gladwell is a guy we all know. He wrote a lot of great books, and so I interviewed him for an hour about, mostly not so much what's in the book as much. Jay, I'm more interested not in the information. I'm interested always not just in the content. I'm interested in the context of what happens. All learning happens when you have the capacity to dissect information and knowledge in a way that can lead to wisdom. Because information, look, if all you have is information, people will use you and discard you. Think Google. If all you have is knowledge, people only call upon you when they need you. Think an auto mechanic, think a dentist. But if what you have is wisdom, people respect you and they will not forget you and they will advocate you and recommend you. So Malcolm, I wanted to know, when does he write? Where does he find the idea? How does he connect the ideas and string them together in a book that makes sense, and so on? And that's what fascinates me about the human mind, is not so much what you know, but how it is that you are who you are. And you learn from the good and the bad and the successful and not so successful, because there are commonalities in human behavior.
Here's another one.
Well, now this is a very special lady, member of NSA, wrote some really great books, and she's a tremendous artist, and she performs all the time, and I love her so.
Victoria Labam, she and I got to know each other as well, but this was a great interview with her, and don't we love her?
The Victoria is a sweetheart. She's built from the inside out, this lady. And once she's your friend forever. Well, this one here is on CNBC, Squawk Box. This aired all over the world, and I heard from people from all over the world. And it's amazing how, a couple of minutes on national television, in this case, international television, can get millions of people to watch you. The guy was really, I liked him. He was a good interviewer.
How about this one?
Well, this is Stephen Wozniak, the co-founder of Apple Computer. He happens to be our expert in residence at Hype University. I have 50 of them. The founder of Netflix, founder of Apple, the chairman of Domino's, the chairman of AT&T, on and on the story goes.
That's a heck of an IT department.
Yeah. No, we've got unbelievable people. And Woz is a different kind of guy.
Tell me about it.
Woz is the kind of guy whose brilliance overshadows any lack of social adjustment.
Yeah.
And you have to get into Woz. And once you get into Woz, you realize the guy's a genius. And of course, he's invented the first Apple computer, and the rest is history.
This picture's up. We look like that. Look down. Look, there it is.
Yeah.
This picture pops up a lot.
That's me teaching. I teach, actually I see some adults there. I may be just speaking to an audience, but I teach all the freshman class at Hype University, 1,600 people every Thursday morning. And I teach them about leadership and stewardship and fiscal literacy and communication and so on. Because High Point University in High Point, North Carolina is the premier life skills university. It's not enough, Jay, to know what's in the books, as good as they are and as necessary as they are. But you somehow have to build a bridge of understanding from what you know to what the world needs. So when you graduate, you must be ready for, providing not value. Jay, not value. Everybody wants to talk about value. Value is not a big deal. Every human being you'll ever meet, every company you'll ever see, they provide some value. The issue is it appreciated value? The only way you can make your value appreciated is when it overcomes other people's fears, meets their needs, help them get to their goals, help them fulfill their aspirations. That's called the law of identification, by the way. When something becomes personal, it then becomes important.
Yes.
The reverse is true. If something is not personal, it's not important. You wonder why people don't pay attention, why people don't buy, why people don't take our appointment. We didn't make it personal to them.
Yeah.
And you make it personal by overcoming their fears, helping with their needs, goals, aspirations. So that's an audience, that's why I teach in my class, a very popular class. It's the most popular class at Hype University. You know why? It has no exams. You just write a paper at the end of the class.
We're going to be talking about that university here a little bit later, but one of the things is, on the personal note, look, we got some people here. There's Greg Sneed. He says higher education on its own can be miseducation. Totally, because you've got people that have both. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, now I don't know what this person means, but let me say it this way: higher education on its own can be miseducation. I don't know if I agree with that, but I will say this: if you just make an A in a class and have all the information and knowledge, and you are devoid of the application of that knowledge in a way that goes beyond your immediate sector of knowledge. In other words, you can be an engineer, know exactly how to be an engineer, but if you don't know relational capital, and you don't have reputational capital, you don't know how to lead, how to be a solution finder, how to be an energy manager, then what you have is training. Let me give you the for our viewer here, let me give you the distinction.
Okay.
When you train somebody, you show them what to do. When you educate somebody, you show them how to be. Whoa, how to be. Applicable in any place with anyone. When you train somebody, you show them the how. When you educate somebody, you teach them the why. If I know the why, I can dissect through information and come to my own conclusions and make life really fulfilling. So what does the word education mean? It comes from a Greek derivative, which says it's educo, E-D-U-C-O, which means to change from within. So education must be transformational, which is what I brought to Hype University 19 years ago. And I said, I think we can be an incredible institution of higher learning if we make sure we feed their heart. You must plant seeds of greatness in the minds, hearts, and souls of students, and it must be applicable in the real world.
And Greg just said that's the point. Look, we got international people. Nancy, Medina, Tibio, Malunda. Hello from the Philippines. Thanks for coming and appreciate that. And Nancy says she shared the broadcast. That's always nice. Really appreciate it. And people, as you see these things come up, that's where you can chat live. And if you want to have comments and chat live, we can sure do that. Okay, here comes another one. Couple more.
Well, that's my wife. Don't mistake her for my daughter. That's my wife. And as you can see, she's very expensive.
She is. She's beautiful and smart.
That's my office. That's where I'm sitting right now, and that's a picture we took together.
And not only is she a supporter, but she has her own stuff in her own right, doesn't she? That she does many things.
My wife is a microbiology major. We've had together 4 children. We have 9 small grandchildren. She's written a beautiful book about the 29 gardens she's created at Hype University, the arboretum that she's created here, the conservatory. She's a volunteer conservatory that she has built here. She has made an incredible and indelible impression on this institution, and certainly she's been a great support and cheerleader in my life.
Nido Qubein. Beautiful. Okay, so this struck me. And it's like, hey, you can scoot over, you want to look at it with me. But High Point University, this thing pops up some places. What's the significance of this?
Well, it's the tree of learning. And then you see an owl in the middle to suggest wisdom, that you must have wisdom. It's not enough to just have information or knowledge. Of course, they're important. Of course, they're prerequisites. But you have to have wisdom. My mom had 4th grade education, remember? But she had enormous wisdom. And so this logo that you see it all over campus. This is a sculpture that you're looking at. We have many beautiful sculptures, by the way, in this campus. I invite anyone to come visit us. It's a gorgeous campus, always ranked in the top 10 most beautiful campuses in America.
And that's in High Point, North Carolina, right?
High Point, North Carolina, High Point University, 6,100 undergrad, grad students. We have schools of pharmacy and engineering and dental medicine and law and all of that. It's a private institution. It's a very high end. We're number one, 12 years running now in the U.S. News and World Report category called Best Colleges in the South.
So here's one of the big questions. Parents want to allow their children a big college experience and education without sacrificing values, plus maximizing free enterprise core beliefs.
Yeah.
What makes High Point University a great choice?
That's a great question, and so I'll give you a quick answer. Our values are God, family, country. God, family, country. Now, we have students from 50 countries. We have students from all 50 states. And so we admire everybody. We respect the sovereignty of every international student on our campus. But make no mistake about it, we're patriotic. I believe in the private enterprise system. I believe that you have an idea, you take a risk, maybe you succeed, maybe you don't. You get yourself up, you dust yourself off, you start all over again. And I want my students to understand that they can change anything, do anything, build anything. Listen. There are no such thing as unrealistic dreams. They're only unrealistic timelines. We were created and invented to be extraordinary. We're the ones who mess it up. We have the capacity to be extraordinary. So our call to action here is choose to be extraordinary. The reason people come to this university is because values, God, family, country, and we respect every religion and every background. It's a very diverse campus, as well as premier life skills. That's what people want. Jay, this will impress you. 99% of our graduates get a job, start a business, or go to graduate school of their choice within 6 months of graduation. Let me give you the national average, 83%. We beat it by 16 points because we have career services, internships, and residence people here teaching our students. We've got the faculty, stellar faculty, PhDs, hundreds of them. But we also have all these practical business people and leaders in politics and beyond who bring forth real life experiences. So that's what makes Hype University of choice. 25,000 applications this past year, freshman class 1,600.
Is this the right www.highpoint.edu?
Yep, that's it.
Folks, look it up. Go visit. This is incredible. Comments we got here. I see Gail says, love that. Choose to be extraordinary. Gail.
Choose to be extraordinary, Gail. Boy, Gail is good looking. Look at that picture, Jay.
How about that?
She's good looking and intelligent. That's a double whammy right there. Yes, it's a choice. It's a choice. You can choose to be ordinary. Nothing wrong with that. But it's not going to take you to incredible places.
And Greg's follow-up was he's given it a great big amen to what you were saying. There you go. Absolutely. And love it when everybody jumps in here. So we need to send our kids to High Point. That sounds awesome. Now, one of the things, and I'm going to drop this in for a minute, because one of the things, everyone, and I don't, there's listeners and talkers, okay? And I get to be the listener and you get to be the talker on the show. So very seldom do I talk this much with a guest. But I need to tell the people at this kind of break between topics that Nido Qubein is probably the wisest individual I have met. When I go online, I listen to his nuggets. He can put in 3 minutes a message that will change your life. And God has given him something very special. And all I can do is say, find him, find these 3-minute transformations. Those videos that you've been doing, and maybe recently, 3-minute transformative videos. It's unbelievable. How did you come up with that?
Well, Jay, first of all, thank you for your very kind words. I really appreciate that. HPU plus, you would get hundreds of those. What I do is, I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I study for 3 hours every morning, and I go deep into who I am, and I try to listen to you and others, and I try to say, how does that apply to my life? What might I extract from that? What is the context in which and through which this person spoke? And what is the nugget of wisdom there that could be applicable in many, many forms of life and living? And then I develop an idea. I mean, a simple idea, for example, everybody talks about time management. I don't. I talk about energy management. I said, time management, we all have 24 hours. I mean, you can work 15 hours a day, not be as effective as someone who works 5. And so the issue is energy management. I don't want to invest my energy in anything that is not worthy of the outcome, right? If something is not as good as it needs to be, that's not it, Jay. It's just capital H, capital P, capital U, then plus, and it's an app. So you just download the app. Yeah, there you go. HP Plus. That's it. And it's free. It doesn't cost you a thing. It's loaded with stuff.
Beautiful. So as we keep moving here, there was another topic in particular that we wanted to talk about, and it had to do with the greatest need in the world today. And this, like, what the world needs now. What's your single perceived greatest need in the world at this time, and what are we supposed to do about it?
Understanding each other, Jay. Understanding each other. Celebrating our similarities. Respecting our differences. Everybody wants to talk about the art of communication. That's not much of anything. You can learn. I wrote a book called How to Be a Great Communicator, sold millions of copies. That's great. But life is not about communicating. Life is about connecting, connecting. When you connect to another person's soul, there's a depth to that relationship that you simply cannot put in words. And so for me, it's about understanding. Not everybody thinks the way I do. Not everybody likes what I say. Not everybody comes from the same background I do. But everybody brings joy and a treasure box to every relationship. So we need to understand each other. I hate war, Jay, because war is failure of connectivity, is failure of understanding. You know, the whole issue about diversity, for example, we shouldn't be so concerned about that if we were doing all the right things and appreciating each other. So I want the world to be more understanding and more. When you're more understanding, you're more loving, you're kinder, you're more generous, you're more forgiving. And so everything else follows that. But we've got to understand each other. So, I mean, there are many other things. There are practical things like hunger and people who are deprived and people who are under rules of apartheid and all of that in the world. Of course. But for me, you know, the human spirit is a sweet thing, and we sometimes sour it unnecessarily and needlessly.
So, how would I put that in a sentence? Protect the human spirit, our souls and our lives, and treat one another with great respect.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's a lovely way to say it.
There we go.
Another way might be preserve the dignity of, I'm just thinking out loud, preserve the dignity of every human being by getting to know them and accept them.
Hold on a second.
That's not what we do. You know, the rich hang around the rich and the poor hang around the poor, and the athletes hang around the athletes, and you know what I mean? The golfers hang around the golfers. And what we need to do is we need to be much more diverse in our conversations because it's a big world. And the world has so much to offer. I read 2 books a week, Jay, and my friends always send me books, and I just read all these books. I learned so much in these books, and some of them are simple. You know, some people, an idiotic person will say, "I read your book, Jay, and I already know that stuff." That's an idiotic statement, because if you know all that stuff, are you applying it in your life? So I'm looking for that one nugget in a book or in a speech that can just elevate my thinking and enhance my spirit.
Let's see who else is. Oh my gosh, let's see. There's John Godwin. John Godwin says, hey, he's here. He's in the house. John Godwin's a big videographer over there in Charlotte. And what a pleasure to have you. He's a pioneer from many years. Amen. He's giving you a big amen. John, thanks for coming.
Thank you, John. Thank you.
So anyway, I want to remind everyone we're getting down to the end here. And because a lot of these broadcasts, even though it's live, it's still on a delay. If you've got some thoughts or questions, now's the time to put them in because we start winding down, and I don't want to miss what you have to say. Nido, this has been awesome. I love having you being on the show like this, and the wisdom, the nuggets of wisdom, and really people that are seeing this might never have known about you. And so we open up a whole new range of people all over the world. It's awesome. And I want them to get a hold of and have the Nido Qubein experience. So hopefully they'll go there. If they don't remember anything else, they can go to nidoqubein.com and work out from there. It all works. Nido, as we wrap this thing up, give you the opportunity, what's on your heart you can share with the people. The stage is yours.
Well, first of all, Jay, thank you for the opportunity. You're very kind to invite me to be on your very outstanding show that's heard and seen around the globe. Look, my friend, I think there are 3 things that affect who we are as human beings. The first one is awareness. You know, I spoke about understanding, but awareness. If you develop anything in life, develop the talent, the spirit, the knack, the sensitivity of awareness. Not just situational awareness, not just about physical place. Of course, you're aware about the beauty of a garden and watching the full moon on a well-lit night, but also awareness about people's needs and about the desire they have in their heart and how you can step up and step out to help them and assist them. At the end of the day, life is not about legacy. That's a misnomer. Life is about impact. It's not about what people think you did, legacy. It's about how they feel you helped them because you lived. The second one is a judgment. You know, I struggle with this. How do we teach judgment? At Hype University, we don't call our professors teachers. We call them enablers of learning. And one of the big things for me is to say, how do I teach someone to have good judgment? I guess it comes from experience, knowledge, skill, yes. It comes from being in the right circle of influence and seeing how other people develop good judgment, yes. Maybe we model it for people, yes. But having good judgment in life, in relationships, in business, in every aspect of your life leads to magnificent things in life. And once we have awareness and judgment, at that point we can claim a point of relevance. That's so important. I don't want to live an irrelevant life. I want to live an impactful, relevant life. I have so many people who tell me, I listened to you, I heard you, I attended your seminar, my son went to High Point, I'm an alum, et cetera, et cetera. And because I was in business for 35 years, as you know, Jay, and then I came back to my alma mater to become its president, and we built it beyond imagination, both size and influence and impact and advocacy and branding and academic excellence and student outcomes for sure. But relevance ought to be what we seek in life. And relevance is different for different people. A third grade teacher is relevant in the seed of greatness he or she may place in the heart of a kid who believes that teacher and goes on to bring into fruition that hope, that goal, that dream in their life. But relevance also means sometimes you help people and unknowingly, you just don't know. So every person you meet, physically or otherwise, social media and any other place, that's an opportunity to be relevant, to influence their life, to impact their life, to be a person of meaning and purpose. I want to be substantive in life. I want to say things that are meaningful and useful, but I also want to be substantial in life. I want to do enough of it. I call that qualitative quantity. It's good to do a lot of quantity, whatever you do, but you also have to frame it with a lot of quality. And when you have qualitative quantity, you really can make things happen. So when I say choose to be extraordinary, I don't mean that there's just some motivational, jargon. I really mean it from the inside out, that yes, we can. Yes, we can believe in the art of the possible. Yes, we can make a life that is truly meaningful. And when that happens, you can't wait till the sunrise the next morning. You can't wait to go out there and attack the world. And you'll never again see a problem as a problem. You begin to see the problem as an opportunity to meet the challenge, to climb a higher mountain, and in the process, hold up the right hand and hold someone's hand, hold up the left hand and hold another person's hand, and march onward and forward together. That's when God will say, "You have done well, my faithful servant."
Amen. I'm with you, brother. That is fantastic, Dr. Nido Qubein. So happy that you came. So I'm going to wrap it up right now. Everybody that came and is watching now, and those of you that are watching the replays, thank you so much for coming. This is awesome. Dr. Qubein, I'll send you back to the green room, please. Don't eat all the refreshments. I'll come back there and we'll have a chat. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you. And to everyone, have a great day and a wonderful forever.
See you later. Oh, and that's the Buyers and Sellers Show, everybody. Thank you for coming all over the world with Dr. Nido Qubein. I'm Jay Skinner. I'm here every Friday morning, 10:35 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, live with guests, with comments, with all sorts of stuff. And it's like, we so want you to, keep coming back. And I just caught this comment, Gail. Glad you loved it. Thanks for coming. Bye, everyone. Let's go. See you next week. Thanks for coming.